You said that you used to, get mixtapes and stuff. What kind of names were you attached to back then? Like both on the artist side and on the DJ side, and obviously radio was a big
Yeah,
deal as
no.
well.
I mean, DJ side, it was like Green Lantern, K Slay, Clue, any of like the Hot 97 tapes. Power 105 wasn't even around back then in New York. It was like just Hot 97. I got super into G Unit. I was listening to all the G Unit tapes, all the Dipset tapes, all kinds of ish. There was just like every week I would grab all the hot tapes. I'd get $25. I'd pay $5 a tape, but I would leave with like 5 tapes every week.
Yeah, that's crazy
Uh,
because I feel like I got attached to the southern mixtapes more than I was on the
oh,
East
word.
Coast stuff. Yeah, it's so
That's
funny.
interesting.
Yeah, that is
Yeah, I was
interesting.
definitely in New York.
Yeah, definitely, of
Yeah,
course.
it was Queens, so it was like I didn't really get the southern stuff until after 50. Like when Wayne started popping, that's when like I started seeing the South a lot. Like, but outside of that, it was like a lot of New York, LA. But I was working at the spot too, so like there probably were tapes that had the southern stuff, and I just wasn't buying them. I would buy all the New York stuff, go back to Long Island, and make copies of the tapes, and then sell them in school. And I get
Right.
like my 25 back plus whatever. Like,
You flipped it for real.
yeah, I was definitely flipping tapes for sure.
The mixtape era, I love to death and I really miss it. But I even feel like I never got the true essence of it because I've never lived from where they kind of were birthed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I've always kind of just got the ripple effect of a mixtape rather than the full effect of it.
Did you have like Napster or LimeWire or any of
Yeah, so LimeWire, of course.
that?
Um, but I do actually remember physical CDs that I used to get from the market in Malta, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So it's crazy. Like it used to, like the hip hop tapes used to just be there, readily available, and all the other like house and techno shit was like sold out, and I'll be the only one getting the hip hop stuff.
I mean, listen, you woke to that hip hop. I'm
Yeah.
curious of like how long after you guys were able to get our stuff, because like if we dropped, like, what year did you start hearing 50? Do you remember?
So 50, not, let me see actually. So I left Malta in 2002, probably around then, 2002 actually. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you guys weren't far behind, because like I started hearing about 50 like 2002, 2003.
Oh, okay, there you go then.
So y'all got the tapes probably pretty quick.
Yeah, for real.
What DJs do you
They always come
remember?
out quick in the market. I remember Envy.
Okay, Envy, yeah, Envy had hella
Yeah.
tapes. I know Woo Kid, y'all definitely got
Oh
some Woo
yeah,
Kid
Who Kid.
tapes.
Yeah, 100%. 100, of course,
Woo
of
Kid had
course.
tapes everywhere. That boy
Literally.
was
Like he even did
everywhere.
a UK tape at some point, for sure. He did. Like
He might have been one of the first from here.
I'm telling you, he had all these names that we feel
That's
like
wild.
have just now broken through, like Skepta, Gigs. I'm telling you, they were on these tapes.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy. So yeah, so you mentioned Peter Rosenberg, that being a pivotal point. So what do you remember about you setting foot in the Hot 97 building and starting to get yourself into that community?
I had been there for like a couple of times maybe before I started working there. I maybe had went up there 3 times, 2 or 3 times on like a holiday or something when Peter was working. And that's literally, it was like different being in the studio. Like I had never seen it. I had never like seen any radio station. So like to be at Hot and see it was like tight. By the time I started working, it was like a few years later. It might have been like 2 years later. And I went up there as like a street team member. It was like right at the end, maybe like 2 years before Angie left, 2 years before Dennis and Mr. C, and the whole morning
Yeah.
show changed. Like, so it was a couple years before that. And it was tight. It was like classic, like old school Hot 97. Like I was seeing Flex for the first time. I was seeing like Angie every day. It was pretty tight. And I did like a lot of street team events. I worked with my homie Janky. I got my boy Bass Vinny a job there for a bit. And like we worked a lot of different events. We did like all the cell phone stores and all the like Dunkin' Donuts. Like we go to these venues and those locations, whatever, and like promote the brands. I mean, Street Team was tight. Like I wasn't making any money. That's the thing. Like when I was selling mattresses, I was making almost like $100,000 a year. Like I was making a lot of money. And
Excuse me.
it was crazy. I was making a lot of money selling mattresses. It was like in New York City, I managed like a store on the Upper East Side I was at every day, and it was like great money. And I left and I went to go work at Hot. I took this job on the Street Team, like, and it wasn't paying shit, but it was like, it let me live at the station. It just let me be there all the time. But yeah, I mean, navigating Hot was definitely interesting because it was like, you know, the Street Team was very straightforward and easy, and like I didn't really see a lot of the personalities. I was new, but like for me, I think and you know, I spoke to Peter about this once or twice, but like I think really I never had an agenda, so like I just made friends with people naturally. Like I didn't DJ at the time. Like I just started working there. I didn't really know anything about anything, and I just kind of was trying to be more helpful to people than to do anything for myself. And I think that like allowed me to just connect with people that like I was meant to connect with. And still, to this day, I don't really have an agenda. I never really wanted to be on radio per se. Like it was fun and like I enjoyed it, but radio stresses me out too. And like being around so many people, I kind of saw like people like Rosenberg and Ebro like love to have an opinion on things, give their opinions, cover the culture, cover like, well, not necessarily even just the culture, but like the news, the shows. Like I kind of just enjoy music. Like I love the artists. I love running around with artists. Like I love connecting dots with people. So I mean, I did everything at Hot 97, but like I even at Hot 97, maybe 2 years into me being on air, because I got on air. And 2 years in, I was like, I want to do management. Like I loved management, and I started working with Live Like Davis.
Oh, you mentioned the word stressful. What
Mm-hmm.
specific, I mean, you did touch on the fact that, you know, you feel like being an on-air personality does come with a lot of things, like, you know, you're carrying a load of opinions that are probably going to shape you as a person, or other people's judgment of you. Was that the stress of it, or was there other things that you felt were stressful?
I mean, you know the vibes. It's like when you work in radio, everything is stressful. It's down to the second at all times. Everybody kind of needs help with something. I mean, I'll be honest, even too, like I put myself in a position where I was helping a lot of people with a lot of shit. And don't get me wrong, it was like cool, like, you know, but I wasn't really building my own thing. So it's like
And getting no
pressure.
credit, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even care. Like that's the thing, is I never even cared about the credit, but I just want to make money. Like I really just wanted to make money and like make sure like by no means like I left the job where I was making money to do this because like I enjoyed it. So it's like that constant chase of trying to do something you enjoy and getting paid to do it. So it's like for a lot of reasons radio filled those columns, but like there were some columns that just radio could never fill. And that was kind of the stress of it, is just like, you know, this is great, I love it, but like I don't want to be Barbara Walters when I grow up. Like
No,
you
I
know,
get
like,
you. Yeah.
and you know, and honestly it's a combination of that with having respect for people, like, you know, being around Rosenberg, meeting people like Jimmy Kimmel, like these guys love this shit, like they love it, like, you know. So don't get me wrong, I love it, but there's a lot of pressure with that, and I don't think I'm necessarily the best guy to be giving opinions on stuff.